Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now. My name is Chase Sr., and as always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. A lot to get into here. Following Week 15, going into Week 16, big changes to the Eagles' playoff path, especially inside the NFC East. Major injury news going into this Washington game, which is going to take place on Saturday. We'll talk about that as well. And let's begin here with topic number one. Just some changes to the Eagles' playoff path, and things are looking really good for Philadelphia right now, coming off a dominant win on Sunday against the Las Vegas Raiders. And I talked about this during the postgame show earlier today on this Monday, December 15th. I think Eagles fans should be encouraged, happy, and content with what the Eagles did in this game against Las Vegas. I know that the Raiders, in my eyes, in your eyes, worst team in the NFL. But Philadelphia, especially on offense, badly needed a performance like that. And I do think that it's a game offensively that can get the confidence up, increase the morale of the football team, get the positive vibes going, and make this offense feel good about itself once again, where they can feel confident, in rhythm, knowing that they have found some things over the last couple of games and hopefully found an identity for the rest of the year going into the playoffs because the postseason quickly approaching. What I loved from this Eagles offense, I was a big fan of Jalen Hurts' game yesterday. Sharp, decisive, efficient. He was really dynamic with his legs. I was calling for him to make more plays with his feet, both with design quarterback runs, but also once the play breaks down. I wanted to see Hurts go under center more frequently. That led to a very efficient offense. I like the concepts of what we saw from the Eagles play calling against the Chargers in that loss, but also against the Raiders. Smart, creative, modern day things that we saw on offense instead of the high school archaic, vanilla, easy to predict offense that we've been seeing all year. And the pass game and the run game was very balanced. And that's when the Eagles are at their best. They went back to last year's Eagles, where they ran it a lot, they operated the pass off of that, and that's when they are their best selves, right? And Hurts against the Raiders, the ball barely hit the ground. 12 of 15, 175 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns, no picks. 154.9 was the quarterback rating. And I just liked how confident Hurts looked in a pressure spot when he knew the pressure of the city was on his shoulders, and like he always does, he comes through in a really big moment. That was the most efficient passing game of Jalen Hurts' career, and the most efficient passing game among all quarterbacks across the NFL for all of 2025. That's also 3 straight years, now that I'm thinking about it, that Hurts has had at least 30 touchdowns in a season. So we've also seen consistent play from the Eagles quarterback. Obviously, you don't want to see him be as hot and cold as he is, but as I've said, that also has to do with all the different coordinators he's had going back to Alabama. No continuity can lead to inconsistency as a player. So that's what I liked on offense, with everybody really chipping in. And Kevin Patullo doing a good job as well. What I loved from this Eagles defense, how about how Vic Fangio's unit is playing right now? The Eagles defense looks to be Super Bowl caliber against Kenny Pickett. 4 sacks, 9 quarterback hits. I don't have the pressure numbers as of right now because Pro Football Focus hasn't released those, but there were a ton of pressures that this Eagles defense was able to generate. And isn't this crazy? In 2025, the Eagles gave up 75 total yards. The Eagles won the first down battle 27-7, and they held the Raiders to 3 of 12 on 3rd down. You get more from this offense combined with this defense. No team in the NFL wants to play the Eagles once the postseason comes around, but it's going to require the offense to find a groove, which is why in a macro sense, long-term sense, the Eagles needed to have a game like that against Las Vegas. Can't always just look at the opponent. You look at these are my choices, for the defensive game balls yesterday, by the way. Nakobe Dean with the 2 TFLs. He has been one of the best linebackers since getting back into the fold coming off that patellar tendon injury. 2 TFLs yesterday and just able to sniff plays out against the run, against the pass, and he's so dynamic as a blitzer as well. Jalen Phillips, since the trade, has been playing at a legitimate all-pro level. He's earning himself a lot of money this upcoming offseason, especially with the position that he plays. Moro Ojulari, I told you going into this year, he was going to be better than Milton Williams last year. Not a slight on Milton. That's a compliment to Ojulari for how good he's been. Brandon Graham played 7 snaps and had 2 sacks. Make the most of it, OGBG. Nolan Smith had a sack. Jalix Hunt has been cooking over the last couple of months. And these are all great signs for this Eagles defense. As for the Eagles playoff picture, how has it been shaken up? What has changed here for the Eagles? Well, last night, Sunday Night Football, a big domino fell. The Dallas Cowboys suffering their 2nd straight loss. First, they lost to kick off December 2 Thursdays ago against the Detroit Lions. Then against a Vikings team that was already eliminated from playoff contention. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys lose 34-26. And so the NFC East standings look as such. I mentioned earlier, things looking really pretty for Philadelphia right now. They are 9-5 on the year. They're about to have another double-digit win season, barring some type of collapse, which I don't think is going to happen the final 3 games of the season. The Cowboys 6-7-1. Philadelphia, Washington going to play this upcoming Saturday in Week 16. We'll get to that here in a moment. But with Dallas losing at home against Minnesota, against a quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, who's been so up and down, who Vikings fans don't even know is going to be the future of the organization, the Cowboys fall. And the Cowboys' playoff chances disintegrate to only 1%. And so the only way that the Cowboys can make the postseason is to win the NFC East. The Eagles have to lose out and be defeated in each of their last 3 games, and the Cowboys have to win out in all of their final 3 games. Dallas has the Chargers, the Commanders, and the Giants to round out the year. And we have it popped up right here. So you look at the Eagles' remaining schedule. I ripped it off the dome, and we're still bringing the heat here. Eagles at Washington on Saturday. Week 17 on the road against Buffalo, and then Week 18 against the Commanders. When the schedule came out, we were all saying, especially given Philadelphia, Washington playing in the NFC Championship game last year, that these 2 games between the Birds and the Commies could determine the NFC East. Not going to happen. It's been a nightmarish year for Washington. And then for Dallas, that schedule that I just gave you off the top. Chargers at home, on the road against the Commanders on Christmas, and then Week 18 on the road against the Giants. So, all that being said, brings me to this. The Eagles' magic number, ladies and gentlemen, is 1. And that is the combination of Eagles wins and Cowboys losses the final 3 weeks of the year. So Philadelphia here can win the NFC East on Saturday with a victory against the Commanders, and hopefully we're having a party right here on Eagles Now for another watch party. The early line for this game, the Eagles road favorites by about a touchdown, -6 to be precise there. And the over-under, 44.5. Kickoff set for 5 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, December 20th in the lead up to Christmas. And again, we'll be live for that game. The Eagles' playoff chances now up to 99% with the Philadelphia convincing win over the Raiders and that Cowboys aforementioned loss against Minnesota. The NFC playoff picture looking as such. The Rams stay in the 1 spot at 11-3 with the win yesterday over Detroit. They have clinched a playoff spot. And then 2 through 7, Bears, Eagles, Bucks, Seahawks, Niners, and Packers. Let's take a look at the remaining schedules for those teams around Philadelphia here. The Rams on the road against Seattle on Thursday night. Massive game in the NFC and in the NFC West, on the road against the Falcons on Monday night, and then Week 18 against Arizona. The Bears play the Packers for the 2nd time in 3 weeks on Saturday. That's after the Eagles-Commanders game. Can't wait to watch that one. And then the Bears are on the road against the Niners on Sunday night, and then home against Detroit. Difficult slate remaining for Chicago. The Seahawks schedule, home against the Rams, on the road against the Panthers. Big game for both teams there. And then the NFC West and perhaps the number 1 seed could come down to Week 18 between the Seahawks and the Niners, one of the better rivalries in the NFL. The Niners remaining schedule on the road to play Phillip Rivers and the Colts on Monday night. Then they return home to play the Bears on Sunday night. Then they're at home against the Seahawks in Week 18. The Packers remaining schedule, Micah Parsons out for the year, torn ACL, on the road against the Bears, home against Baltimore. Baltimore scratching and clawing, fighting for their playoff lives. And then the Packers round out on the road in Minneapolis. Always a difficult place to play and a big rivalry game there. More to get to here on the show, but let me pause and say, if you love the Philadelphia Eagles, you should subscribe to the channel. We're bringing you daily content that is elite, so join the movement. Join a great community here on YouTube. Hit that sub button, and as always, go Birds. Fittingly, today's Philadelphia Eagles Now is brought to you by Tushy, the everyday luxury bidet. Head to hellotushy.com/chat. Check it out for yourself, and you can save big on Tushy today by using our code CHAT. Us Philly fans, we can be called a-hole sometimes. A-hole is only a naughty word, though, if you wipe. When we want to bark at officials, you can call them a skid mark. Once you give a sports fan who has everything but a respectable defensive line a Tushy bidet to soothe their stress hemorrhoids, loser in your fantasy league has to put truck nuts on their car. Winner gets a Tushy bidet. How about that for a challenge next year? It's a daily luxury bidet that is going to change your life. I'm telling you right now, and it's the everyday luxury bidet that instantly transforms your bathroom habits and your bottom health for life. Whether you're shopping for a bro, CEO, daddy, activist, content daddy like myself or Chip, somebody who lights their farts on fire and is a pyromaniac, it's a gift that refuses to pick a lane. Luxurious, practical, techie, and so easy to use. 99% of people who wash with Tushy Wave feel cleaner and fresher after going to the bathroom. It instantly modernizes your daily routine and bathroom with a super sleek seat plus 2 separate front and rear nozzles for the most complete clean. This is daily decadence with practical benefits. Over half the people who wash with Tushy soothe their hemorrhoids, and 9 out of 10 people reduce itching and discomfort. It's also a very fast do-it-yourself install, 30-day hassle-free return, and a 12-month warranty. So remember, a-hole, only a naughty word if you wipe. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off their first bidet when you use our code CHAT at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com/chat. Use that promo code CHAT. We'll put that information down below in the comment section and attached to the pinned comment of today's Philadelphia Eagles. Now, all right, to this Eagles-Commanders game. Major Commanders injury news going into this Week 16 affair, an old-school NFC East rivalry game between Philadelphia and Washington. I know that the Commanders have already been eliminated from playoff contention, but the Eagles hate the Commanders, formerly known as the Redskins, and the Commanders hate the Eagles, and these two fan bases hate each other as well. And, of course, there's still bad blood because the last time these two teams met was in the NFC Championship game when the Eagles hung 55 points on Washington's head. Here is that big news. Adam Schefter. Commanders have decided to sit Jayden Daniels and start Marcus Mariota for the final 3 games of the year. It's been a disastrous season for Washington and Jayden Daniels. Earlier this year, he hurt his knee. He hurt his hamstring, I believe. Then he dislocated his elbow. He came back from that, hurt his elbow again. When he was on the field, he wasn't playing well. Completion rate, 60.6%, 1,200 plus yards, 8 touchdowns, 3 picks. And honestly, Marcus Mariota has played pretty damn well in replacing Jayden Daniels, who I like as a player, but coming out of college at LSU, I was always worried about Daniels and his lack of size. Now, it's not to say he can't be a good player long-term, but definitely some concerns there, especially with how often he was injured this year. So Marcus Mariota will start the final 3 games of the year. 2 of those games going to go up against the Eagles, and of course he played for Philadelphia a couple of years ago. So the Birds in this game, 6-point favorites. The over-under, 44.5, Northwest Stadium. Will continue to monitor the weather in this game, of course, because in that region of the country, obviously, always something that you have to keep tabs on. And again, kickoff is set for 5 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget to give me a follow on X, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm on all platforms at Chase_Senior, giving you additional content. Just started that TikTok page. Really appreciate all of the newfound love there.